What's up, family? Back at you with another video. I don't know if y'all heard. I know I made a video about it a few days ago, talking about this, the murder of the CEO of healthcare in New York City. That's crazy. Well, the boy finally got caught. He only 26 years old. That's the crazy part, man. I'm 27. It's like the generation is crazy, man. Like they crashing out, bro. Yeah, I guess we gonna find out the motive of why he did it, and it's stupid, man. For real, man. But let's just get into it.
A law enforcement official who was briefed on the matter is telling us here at CNN that along with that 3-page handwritten claim of responsibility, as the authorities are referring to it, some might refer to it as a manifesto, investigators are also looking at a spiral notebook of Mangione's that included to-do lists of tasks in order to facilitate.
And I already watched a couple videos prior to this. He ain't really started crashing out till he seen the camera, man. A lot of people be doing stuff for the camera, man. Like
a killing, as well as notes justifying those plans. In one passage about the Unabomber, Mangione concludes that using a bomb against his intended victim could, quote, kill innocents, but shooting would be more targeted, using what could be better, I'm quoting now, than to kill the CEO at his own bean counting conference. This is coming as we are learning more about the suspect's life beforehand, including a report from the New York Times that Mangione's mother filed a missing persons report about him in San Francisco on November 18th, and also that he stopped communicating with his family and his friends about 6 months ago. Yet apparently no one who knew him and knew that he was missing recognized him in those surveillance photos that have been plastered everywhere for the last several days. Tonight, that's prompting a whole new set of questions about what was happening in Mangione's life behind those smiling photos that we've now seen on social media, and also questions about an injury that he suffered in 2023 and what happened to him ever since. My lead source tonight is the attorney who is representing Luigi Mangione, Thomas Dickey, and it's great to have you here, sir. I just want to say thank you. I know this has been moving very quickly, and you said earlier.
You see, that's what happens, though. Dude, young. He must have got, well, they said his mom filed a missing report, but he probably got kicked out or something. You know, most of them people around that age, man, they turn to drugs and everything else. That might have been the case, man. Like, well, I ain't gonna say that might have been the case, but it could have been part of it, man. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I just think about it, you know.
Earlier, you were retained today to represent him. And so can you just tell us, how's your client doing in jail tonight?
If a man really hated ads, here's what he would do. Day one, he would install Pi on his computer without spending a dime.
Well, Caitlin, thank you for having me.
Before we get into that, let me just pull up. I was reading. So, I think it's Mangione or something like that. Said he was suffering from a severe back pain. Last known address, Honolulu, Hawaii. Yeah. During this time. Left the community in April 2022 due to a lifelong back injury exacerbated by physical activity on the island. What was he doing? According to the post on Reddit account, Mangione's back pain has been persistent, for several years and worsened after suffering in Hawaii. He was surfing. And other members of the service break, community lost contact with Mangione after he left. She said R.J. Martin, a close friend of Mangione's in Hawaii, told CBS News that Mangione was often social except for when he was in severe pain. There were some times where he would kind of hide out, and I don't hear about it afterwards, but he's only of those people that was such a gentleman. Martin said he never complained. He would only tell me about the things after the fact. Martin said the pain inhibited him from doing a lot of activities he wanted to, but said Mangione was active when he was not in pain. Martin grew emotional during the interview. I just feel heartbroken, you know. Somebody that I loved and cared about could have done something so hideous, he said. And that's just talking about his background. It seemed like he was a good kid. He graduated from college. I forget what degree. But like I said, I mean, it could have been drugs, you know. But just I don't know too much about him, you know. Like, I'm pretty sure most of us don't. You know, we just heard about it on the news, you know. It's tragic. And he killed the innocent man. But I hear a lot of rumors about him not being, because, you know, after, I think it's either at 26 or after 26, you're off your parents' insurance. Because I think when I turned 26, the last year of me turning 26, I was off my mom's insurance. Maybe he couldn't afford it and it was catching up to him or something. Like I said, I don't know. We don't really know the motive. They ain't really saying too much about his motive, you know, so it's still kind of crazy, though. Let's get back to this video, though.
I've been saying all day, you know, if you put yourself, I tell everybody to use their common sense. Here we have a young man who is incarcerated without bail, as you alluded to, and apparently he's going to be charged with murder in the state of New York. So if you use your common sense, I'm sure he's, you know, it's concerning. That's all I can say.
Well, you've been an attorney for decades. What did you make of the way he went into court earlier, that outburst that he had?
You know, I'm still analyzing that. I was actually on the other side of the wall when he came in, so I didn't hear all that statement. I've been busy all day, so I haven't had a chance to analyze that. So, yeah, I'm not going to comment on something, unfortunately, until I can have a chance to hear that in detail and break that down.
Well, being on the other side of it, you were inside that courtroom, of course, and we learned about what happened in there. You're fighting extradition.
Then I hear his response for unaliving him was because he was trying to help. He said he was helping out American people or something like that. In short, you know, like helping what, you know. And I look at you.
Tradition for him to New York. Why are you fighting that? It seems like it's inevitable that he will be sent to New York.
So I said to him, "No, Nigel, not without the brie."
Indubitably.
Well, that may be, but again, you know, the Constitution, and I know, keep bringing up that word today, lest we forget about that. But the Constitution gives you certain rights, and we need to make informed decision. And the law permits, and the Constitution permits, that somebody in Luigi's position has the opportunity to look at evidence, make sure the government follows through a process.
What they gonna do? Call him crazy? Send him to a mental health facility? Like, you know, it just don't make sense, man. You can clearly see what he did. He's spazzing out with the officers. I don't really think it's no defending them unless, you know, it's some sticky situation going on. You know how they is, you know. You know the government, man, how they is.
And that's what we're doing. So, again, I've been in this case probably about 12, 14 hours, maybe whatever, give or take. And I haven't seen a speck of evidence at all. I argued today at the extradition hearing. I still haven't received details about the charges that he's facing in New York. I heard your introduction and looking into that. But so we as lawyers need to make informed decisions, and we need to get our hands and our eyes on some evidence.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the charges right here. It's murder, a loaded firearm, 2 counts of that, a forged instrument, and criminal possession of a weapon as well. I mean, those are the charges from New York. I mean, so as you're fighting extradition, you're not actually arguing that the authorities in New York have the wrong guy, are you?
Well, I haven't seen any evidence that they have the right guy. I can tell you that much. So I don't know anything about that. There's identification issues that are present, and so I don't. Like I said, this is why I need to look at some things, and they need to convince me.
I think he literally said he did it though. Like,
I try to remind people, and it's a shame that we forget about this presumption of innocence that the Constitution gives all Americans. And people don't worry about the Constitution until they're facing charges or accusations against them. Then trust me, Caitlin, the Constitution matters.
That's one thing I would agree. Like when I first heard about it, I seen it on Facebook. But a lot of people was like praising him to be a hero. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't even like no information out. People was just talking, basically. You know what I mean? I think people should take in consideration and do more research about stuff like this before they go to typing and talking, Because you just don't know, man. He unalived an innocent person, He trying to say maybe it was somebody else, and man, no, it looked like him, And like I said, I think he said he did it or something like that. So, I mean, what type of evidence you looking for, it just don't matter. His fingerprints matching everything. They say he stopped at the corner store or something, and the fingerprints matched up to whatever he got. Just like, bro, what evidence, bro? What evidence do you need, bro?
And of course it does. And
yes,
I know you highlighted earlier and emphasized innocent until proven guilty. I understand that. But I read the the police report from when he was arrested. He initially gave them a false name. And then when they asked to confirm his identity, he said that he shouldn't have lied to them about it. I mean, that would seem to be that they do have the right person, given that he had a gun on him. He had a fake New Jersey ID that he used to check into a hostel. I mean, is none of that enough for you personally to know that they do have the right guy?
Well, first,
that's a charge in itself. Fake IDs. Like, come on, man. Like, this the evidence. Literally the evidence you need, bro. The ghost gun. Like, come on, now.
First of all, that's a piece of paper. I know you probably can't tell, but I'm 5'6". I could write on that I'm 6'5", and all this other kind of stuff. So that's written on paper. What's nice about the law is we'll have a hearing. I can cross-examine witnesses and find out, look at reports and find out what they have and what they don't have. So again, that's just written on a criminal complaint. Without getting into the details of that, I don't see any evidence of a forgery. They're going to have to at least prove a prima facie case, which is less than the beyond a reasonable doubt. But I need to see these things. Right now, I have one piece of paper. And again, so...
where you been during the trial, under the rock, bro? Bro.
Yes,
Mr. Dickey, have you asked to see this?
I have a copy. If that's the Pennsylvania complaint, I have a copy of that.
But have you asked to see the evidence?
Near the end. Well, that's what we're good. We have a hearing coming up on, I believe, the 23rd. I apologize if I'm in error.
You talking about, bro, that should have been the first thing you asked, man. You going on interviews and stuff, man. You don't know this stuff, bro. It ain't looking too good, buddy. You seem like you don't really know too much about the case. Like, come on now.
about that because there's a bunch of dates that's been flying around today. But yes, and like I said, tomorrow I'm going to reach out to the district attorney with my intentions and to see if, how much we can see of this stuff. So today was not about that. So we have not had the opportunity to do that today.
And I know you were also unhappy that he was denied bail. Of course, prosecutors were arguing that he is a risk. You know, they either have to talk about, you know, being a flight risk or a risk to the community. Obviously, he was captured about 250 miles from Manhattan. But you said you were retained today. One big question that everyone has is, are you being paid by his family to represent him?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that.
Because he is. It's obvious, man. The way you answering these questions is obvious, bro. Like, you ain't got to say too much. You don't have to say too much, bro. We can tell.
Well, can you say that it's not his family who is asking you to retain him, or to retaining you to represent him?
I'm not going to comment on. I'm not going to comment on that. That's I've been retained. I'm not court appointed. I've been retained, and that's all I can tell you.
We had seen reports earlier that there was, you know, people were inundating you with offers to help pay for his legal bills. Is that accurate?
If you give me 20 seconds, I will guarantee that you sign 20
How
clients.
can you?
How? Well, I'm going to help you use the exact same system.
I have received some emails. I have not seen them personally, but my understanding from my staff is people are doing that.
That people are reaching out to you and offering to help pay for his legal bills.
That's correct.
Would you accept those offers? I mean, I imagine you maybe have. I don't know. Have you ever gotten that before?
Nah. To be honest with you, I probably wouldn't.
I don't think he telling. Look how he looking all over the place. I don't think he telling the truth, man. Some like I was saying, bro.
Why do you think you would not accept that?
I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable about that. So I don't know. I haven't given that much thought, but I'm not looking. You know, I mean, obviously my client appreciates the support that he has, but I don't know. I just I'd have to look in, but it just doesn't sit right with me, really.
Why do you think they're offering?
I don't know. People, you talk about, the Supreme Court says, all these rich billionaires can give all kind of money to candidates, and that's free speech. So maybe these people are exercising their right to free speech and
that's just weird,
saying that's the way they're supporting my client.
You noted there that
you gonna ask the lawyer to help you pay for the medical bills, man? That just don't make sense to me, man. It just don't make sense to me, bro.
You said he appreciates the support that he's getting. Did he acknowledge that when you had a conversation with him earlier about how we have seen this intense public interest in him himself?
Yeah, unfortunately, Caitlin, I can't get into anything that my client and I talk about. So by law, I'm not permitted to reveal anything that's attorney-client privilege in any conversation that occurs between he and I is simply that.
I understand that, but could you describe just what his demeanor is? You're talking about putting yourself in his shoes, but did he seem nervous? Did he seem calm, or how did he come off to you when you met him?
Well, yeah, and if we have a minute, I do want to go back to that bail situation if we have a quick second. But anyway, I've been telling people all day to use their common sense. Here's a young man who's, apparently going to be or has been charged with a very serious, one of the most serious offenses a person could be charged with. He's in prison without bail, as you previously mentioned. And so, I think common sense would say, he's concerned.
Do you plan on representing him only in Pennsylvania or also in New York?
Well, that will depend. I got to see how this process pans out. And if, in fact, I were asked to do that, I certainly would consider that and probably do that.
Thomas Dickey, I know you've had a very busy day. Thank you for your time tonight and for joining us.
Perfect timing. Let's look at this video, man. Because this lawyer, bro, I don't know what's going on, man. Let's look at this, though.
If you've ever wanted to transition into a remote six-figure recession-proof position, we have an opportunity.
We are just learning fingerprint comparisons made between prints collected at the scene of the Brian Thompson murder compared with prints taken in the arrest process of Luigi Mangione show a positive match. Two law enforcement officials briefed on the matter have just confirmed to CNN. We're going to have more on that in just a moment. Also this hour, Mangione is still behind bars in Pennsylvania after a judge denied him bail. Before his court appearance, that was yesterday, he yelled and struggled against officers once he turned and saw that the media was standing outside the courthouse. Police now say a notebook that they found on him has a so-called to-do list in it.
If he was innocent, why you gotta act like that, though? Why you can't just, you feel me? Nigga, walk like you innocent.
From before the killing, as well as a reported reference to deciding not to use a bomb to target the victim so he would not, quote unquote, kill innocents. Also new this morning, disturbing video of what appears to be wanted posters popping up around New York City for other health executives. All of this as the suspect's lawyer is now speaking out about offers they say they've received to pay from outside to pay for his legal fees.
Obviously, my client appreciates the support that he has, but I don't know. I'd have to look in, but it just doesn't sit right with me, really. The Supreme Court says, you know, all these rich billionaires can give all kind of money to candidates, and that's free speech. So maybe these people are exercising their right to free speech and saying that's the way they're supporting my client.
Joining us right now, CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst John Miller, CNN Law Enforcement Contributor Steve Moore, also here with me. John, this is your new reporting, and this is a big deal. This is the first positive forensic match that we know of. Walk us through what you've learned.
So, fingerprints collected at the scene of the Thompson murder from a plastic water bottle, from a discarded cell phone, the so-called burner phone, have now been compared against the arrest fingerprints taken by police in Altoona of the suspect, and yesterday they were able to make a match to the prints that they collected at the scene. Not a surprise in some regard, in that they had an individual allegedly with a gun and a silencer and a mask and those things, but it is the first scientific forensic match that joins the growing pile of circumstantial evidence that they can say, well, how else?
Look at him smiling and shit, just like you smiling in them pictures.
Else would it be someone if that fingerprint is here and he's there with that gun and so on? Now, there's more, which is DNA evidence still pending, ballistic tests still pending. Okay. Part of that is because the gun was recovered in Pennsylvania. To match that to be the same gun, they would have to obtain it, fire it, test it, compare the shell casings and the bullets, but this is a big deal.
It is a big deal because you know, to this point, that could be one of the things that you could hear from the suspect's attorney saying, you don't know if this is the guy. This wasn't me. We talked about this, right? Like, you could say this isn't me. This guy with a mask and this, whatever. But this is scientific connection, forensic connection between the two. Talk to me more about ballistics. Is it just a logistical kind of obstacle that needs to be overcome in order to get confirmation or not that the ballistics match, do you think? Or,
you know, the gun is actually the charge that they are holding him on in Pennsylvania. So that evidence needs to stay with him because, you know, they are the ones who have him in custody, and he has not waived extradition, which basically says, I'm not going to New York, where they would then turn over all that evidence to New York City and then have them do those tests. But they understand, you know, they are in it for the long game. They don't need to know that tomorrow or the next day, and it gives them more time to do the background investigation they're still doing, which includes mundane things, but very necessary.
See, that's the thing. If you didn't do it, just complete the process, bro. Prove it, you know. You ain't fighting hard enough, bro. You know. Like, come on, now.
Things like completing the video canvas, tightening up that map where they can show a picture of him almost through every step of his New York journey.
I want to get to.
And with the way technology is today, man, the results is about accurate as this can be. You know, I get it, you know, science or whatnot can fail, man, but you gotta think about it. All the evidence is funny. How they caught the gun on him, the piece of paper, him talking about the healthcare stuff, fake IDs. You know, like, I don't know, man.
To more of that, but Steve, let me bring you in on this. Just the importance of what John Miller has learned about this fingerprint match.
Yeah, as we've learned, something can look like a slam dunk case, but a lawyer can find just niches or cracks in any kind of strong case. And what they're doing now is filling up the cracks. They're eliminated any doubt before they go to trial that this is the person who committed this crime. He's already fighting. He's already shown what he's going to do. He's going to fight every single motion, even a perfunctory extradition motion. So he isn't going to go quietly on this. So the police are obviously dotting their I's and crossing their T's.
For sure. And John, something that we've talked about.
Can I show you something that kind of messed me up? This is a ribbon that represents 100 years.
And I guess it still remains, you know, there are so many questions that remain. And I'm wondering if this notebook that we're learning more about kind of adds to this picture. Is how did this guy know that the CEO was going to be where he was going to be when he was? So, is that where the line of thinking is in investigating how we learn more about that?
There are clues. I mean, you know it because you've been by there, but that New York Hilton Hotel takes up, you know, half of a full city block. Yeah. It has doors all the way down 53rd Street and all the way down 54th Street and a front door and a rear driveway. That's like 20 entrances you would have to cover to know where is this guy going to enter the hotel. But you would also have to know, what if he is going to enter from this side because I have learned he's staying at the hotel across the street? How would you know that? He gives us an oblique reference in the 3-page note that we've loosely called the manifesto, where he says, you know, this wasn't that difficult. It was a combination of social engineering and computer-assisted design, an engineer term, CAD he referred to it as. But I think what he's telling us there on the social engineering side is, this is what people do when they create an email, you know, a spoof email or a phone call saying, you know, I have a delivery, which, you know, where do I bring that, posing as somebody else. He's suggesting that he learned intelligence information on his target by doing that kind of thing. But then when you get out of the note and into the spiral notebook, and he acknowledges this in the note as well. He said, you know, my electronics you're going to find are pretty locked down, but in the spiral notebook you'll see to-do lists and other notes. Some of those notes are theoretical notes about targeting and, you know, what is the just way to commit such a crime. He talks about Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, and how if he modeled after him, a bomb in a shareholders conference could kill, you know, innocent people. Same on the street. But he talks about, you know, shooting being the more precise way to take on his target. In one line he says, and what better way to take out the CEO than to shoot him at his own, quote, bean counters conference.
Yep. An investor conference is exactly what you could say that is.
Right.
Steve, what do you
I'm not sure exactly what they trying to fight, man. I'm like, all this evidence y'all got. What more do y'all need?
I think there's so much that is coming out. I mean, this reporting from John is most significant about the forensic that they're now positively IDing. What questions do you have that remain now, Steve, and where you would say, you know, leaning on your experience with the FBI, where you think this investigation focuses a lot of its energy now?
Well, you've got a lot of the basic building blocks of this case already being nailed down. What I'd want to do is shore up the areas where you don't have direct knowledge yet, or at least they haven't said they have direct knowledge of the shooter's actions. For instance, before a shareholders conference like this, they're going to be setting up for about a week. They're going to do rehearsals and speeches and stuff. I would want to know where he was. We have cameras and everything on the day of shooting, but I'd like to see cameras around the entrances and find out whether Thompson did the same thing for several mornings, or whether maybe somebody in the hotel actually provided him information.
Yeah,
I suspect he went a week early, and I suspect he was doing canvassing and surveillance that entire time.
It's interesting when you talk about that, because that's the backward building of this video canvas. He comes in on the 24th. That's like 10 days before the actual shooting. And where they have tracked him is he comes out of the Port Authority bus terminal and does not go to check into the hostel where he's going to stay. He goes straight with all of his bags to the Hilton Hotel, and he starts doing those walkarounds. But they also have him in a McDonald's, which we now know, I guess, was his preference for hanging out.
I was going to say his preferred stop along the way, for sure. John, thanks for running up and giving us the new reporting. Steve, thank you as always. It's good to see you.
I'm literally browsing the internet all day.
All right. We're going to call it good. I just wanted to stay updated and keep y'all updated on what's going on in these streets, as Anton would say. But yeah, I've been interested in this case, which is why I wanted to talk about it. I'm trying to get a little better at, speaking. But it's obviously, dang, my bad. Obviously some more updates that need to be had. So we're just gonna take it day by day and see what's going on and see what happened to him, man, because it ain't right for one. So I'm gonna get at y'all another video, y'all. Be smooth.